The sky over Earth was unusually clear that morning. Birds flew calmly, unaware of the news that was about to shake the planet. Across the globe, people looked up and saw the first signs of something extraordinary. It began as a faint shimmer in the sky, a thin line of light that moved in a way no plane or satellite could. Within minutes, it grew into shapes that were unmistakably artificial, ships enormous and unlike anything humans had ever built. In New York, people stopped on the streets, staring in disbelief. Cars screeched to a halt as drivers got out to see the spectacle. Phones were lifted to the sky, recording the ships as they passed silently above the clouds. Social media exploded. Within seconds, millions were sharing live footage, their posts spreading the same question: are these ships coming in peace or war? In Washington, the emergency alarm rang across the government offices. Scientists, military leaders, and politicians scrambled to understand what was happening. Captain Ethan Cole, the commander of the Earth Orbital Defense Command, sat at the central command table staring at the main screen. The radar lights showed the alien fleet descending fast, moving in perfect formation. Ethan had been trained for this moment, but nothing in his experience could prepare him for the scale of what he saw. The ships were massive, towering over any human-built spacecraft. They moved with purpose, their design smooth and sharp, glowing faintly with energy that human science could not explain. In the same room, Dr. Laura Bennett, a top astrophysicist, leaned over her console. She had been one of the few humans who had studied distant galaxies with the hope of detecting alien life. But nothing had prepared her for this. "Ethan," she said quietly, almost to herself, "they're not just visiting. They know exactly where to come. They've been watching us." Ethan nodded. "I can see that. And they're big enough to make sure we notice." His voice was calm, but inside his mind raced. The fleet was not attacking yet. That was slightly comforting, but it also made them more dangerous. They were testing humanity, making the first move in a game that had rules humans had never seen. The largest ship moved ahead of the others, breaking formation slightly, and a beam of light projected from its hull into the sky. On the command screens, a symbol appeared, complex and unlike any human writing. Ethan felt a chill. The symbol moved, changed shape, and then finally stabilized. It was a form of communication. Ethan's communicator beeped. A voice from the Pentagon came through, tense but controlled. "Sir, the UN wants to establish communication. They want to send a message first." Ethan looked at Laura. "Prepare whatever translation we can. We need to show them we can respond." Laura worked quickly, typing commands into her console. Algorithms processed the strange symbols, trying to convert them into sounds humans could understand. After what felt like hours but was really only a few minutes, the main speaker in the room crackled, and a voice spoke, clear, calm, and unfamiliar. "People of Earth, we are the Valari conquered. We have come to offer protection. Your world faces threats beyond your understanding. We are here to guide you and ensure your safety." The room was silent. Ethan's hand tightened around the edge of the table. "Protection," he whispered. It sounded simple, almost kind. But the words carried weight. Anyone who had ever dealt with powerful beings offering help knew that help came with a price. The Valari ship hovered in orbit over the Atlantic Ocean, and more ships followed, positioning themselves strategically. Their scale and numbers made it clear they could strike anywhere on Earth without resistance. The humans in the room felt both awe and fear. The technology of these visitors was beyond imagination. In the streets of London, Paris, Tokyo, and Moscow, people watched the sky. Some prayed, some panicked, some simply stared, frozen by the sight of what humanity had never dreamed existed. News networks were broadcasting live, and reporters tried to interpret what was happening. "This is a historic moment," one anchor said, "but no one knows if it is peaceful or hostile." Meanwhile, in the command center, Ethan and Laura analyzed the communications. The Valari continued to speak, offering explanations for their presence. "We have been observing young civilizations," the voice said. "Your world shows promise, but it also faces danger. Rogue fleets and untested technology could destroy your planet. We will station peacekeeping vessels above your cities to prevent this. Compliance will ensure your survival." Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Peacekeeping vessels," he repeated. "That's their way of saying they want control." Laura nodded, her eyes wide as she typed furiously. "They think we're weak. They've seen our transmissions from satellites, maybe even our space stations, but they have no idea what we're capable of. Across the globe, the UN Security Council convened. Leaders from all nations argued about how to respond. Some argued that humanity should accept the Valari's offer. After all, no one could deny that the fleet was powerful enough to wipe out the world. Others, like Ethan, believed that humans could not give up their freedom, even under the shadow of an alien armada. Ethan was called to speak. He walked into the council chamber, his uniform sharp, his face calm but determined. He addressed the room with the authority of someone who had trained for crises far beyond public knowledge. "These beings think they can protect us," he said, "but humanity has survived worse. We do not need protection. We do not need someone to tell us what is safe and what is dangerous. We will decide our own fate." Murmurs ran through the chamber. Some nodded, agreeing with Ethan. Others whispered anxiously, fearing the consequences of defiance. But Ethan's words carried a power that no fear could overcome. Back in orbit, the Valari ambassador projected a hologram over the planet. It was enormous, taller than any building, and it hovered silently. Its voice was calm but firm. "Refusal is ill-advised. Our protection is offered freely, but consequences for disobedience will be significant. You have until the end of your cycle to comply." The words sent a ripple of unease across Earth. Governments debated compliance, but Ethan and Laura knew that compliance meant surrender. They had spent years building humanity's defenses in secret, in projects hidden from alien eyes. Humanity had weapons and ships capable of more than anyone imagined. But revealing them too early could trigger war before it was necessary. In a hidden facility deep under Nevada, technicians worked quietly. Massive warships, sleek and dark, waited for orders. Their systems hummed like living machines ready to respond. These ships were part of the Arcadia program, humanity's most secret project. Not one alien species had ever detected them. Not yet. Ethan and Laura entered the control room of the facility. The walls were lined with screens showing the alien fleet above Earth. On the main screen, the largest Valari ship rotated slowly, its symbols glowing in patterns that defied human understanding. Laura spoke first. "Ethan, they're not leaving. They're waiting for a response. They expect us to kneel." Ethan looked at the holographic display. He saw not just ships but the arrogance of the Valari. They believed humans were weak, naive, and unprepared. That belief could be humanity's advantage. "We don't kneel," he said simply, "and we wait. They need to understand that patience doesn't mean fear." For hours, the two watched as the alien ships maintained orbit, silent, unblinking, calculating. Across the planet, people slept uneasily. They felt both awe and fear, staring at the night sky lit by alien lights. No one knew what would happen next. Ethan turned to Laura. "They offered protection," he said quietly. "But they don't know what they're dealing with. Humanity has survived nuclear wars, plagues, and centuries of struggle. We're not weak and we're not afraid. Not today. Not ever." Laura nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. She had studied stars her whole life, hoping for proof of alien life. Now the proof was here, but it was terrifying in its reality. She looked at Ethan, seeing the calm determination in his eyes. "So what do we do now?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "We show them who we are, but carefully. We don't start a war. We just make sure they know that Earth is not to be toyed with." In the sky, the Valari ships shifted slightly, as if sensing the tension below. Humanity was silent, but it was not powerless. And deep within the hidden Arcadia facility, the first warships hummed with life, ready for a world that refused to kneel. As night fell over the planet, the alien fleet remained in orbit. Cities were quiet, but inside homes, offices, and secret bases, humans prepared. They prepared not for submission, not for surrender, but for the moment when they would show the galaxy exactly who they were. The first day of humanity's new chapter had begun. The world watched, the stars shined, and the sky was full of promises of power, of challenge, and of the enduring strength of a species that refused to bow to fear. And above it all, the Valari Concord floated silently, unaware that the very beings they thought to protect could one day make them regret ever arriving. The next morning, the world woke to the same strange sight. The alien fleet hung silently over Earth. Their ships were massive, smooth, and shining faintly under the rising sun. Across every continent, people stared up, unsure of what would happen next. News channels repeated footage from yesterday, but no one had new information. The Valari had not made any new move. It was as if they were waiting. Inside the secret Arcadia facility under Nevada, Captain Ethan Cole and Dr. Laura Bennett walked through long corridors lined with lights that shone softly on the walls. Technicians and engineers moved quickly around them, monitoring systems, running simulations, and preparing ships. The facility hummed with energy, the sound of power and machinery blending together. This was humanity's most guarded secret, and now it had become the key to survival. Ethan stopped near a large screen that showed the alien fleet in orbit. "They're waiting," he said, "and they expect us to react. They think fear will control us. But humans aren't controlled by fear. We survive because we face it." Laura nodded, her fingers moving over her tablet. "We have ships ready. They're hidden, and they're stronger than anything we've ever revealed. But if we move too soon, we risk starting a war we could avoid." Ethan's eyes were steady. "We don't want war today. We want to show them strength. Let them understand that Earth is not weak. That's all." The two of them entered the command center where screens and holograms filled the room. The technicians were monitoring alien communications. Small symbols and signals flickered on the monitors, but no clear message was coming through. It was as if the Valari were testing Earth, seeing how humans would respond to pressure without attacking. Meanwhile, across the world, governments struggled with the same problem. Leaders debated whether to comply with the Valari or refuse. Some suggested giving them limited access to Earth's orbit and communication systems to avoid conflict. Others argued that no alien force should dictate the fate of humanity. In Washington, the UN Security Council met again. Ethan had been called to testify, and he spoke with calm confidence. "These beings have come with the claim of protection," he said. "But protection is not what they want. They want control. Humanity has survived disasters, wars, and crises on its own. We will survive this too without surrendering our freedom." Some members of the council frowned. "Captain Cole, do you understand the power they hold?" One delegate asked. "These ships could destroy cities in moments. We are lucky they haven't attacked." Ethan nodded. "I understand. But strength isn't always in the number of weapons. Strength is in intelligence, preparation, and determination. The Valari do not know us. They have not seen the full measure of human capability." While debates continued, Laura monitored the alien ships. "They're scanning Earth," she said. "I can feel it through the sensors. They are trying to learn about us, but their technology cannot detect everything. There are things we've hidden, even from the most advanced scanners." At the Arcadia facility, technicians worked in shifts around massive warships. Each ship was long, sleek, and black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They were built to travel far beyond the solar system, with weapons and shields that could challenge the strongest fleets in the galaxy. Every system was tested and retested. Every crew member was trained for emergencies. Humanity had waited decades to reveal this power. Ethan walked along the deck of the Horizon, the flagship of the Arcadia fleet. It had been kept secret for years, a silent guardian beneath the desert sands. Now it hummed with life, energy running through its systems like blood through veins. Laura joined him. "They're waiting," she said softly. "Every minute they stay in orbit, they grow more confident. They think patience is a weakness." Ethan studied the holographic projection of the Valari fleet. "They don't know what patience means for humans. Waiting doesn't make us weak. It makes us ready." In orbit, the alien ambassador, Saren Vial, observed the planet with silent attention. Through the large viewports of the Valari command ship, Earth appeared fragile but alive, full of small movements, lights, and life. Vial's mind worked through calculations and probabilities, assuming that humans were simple and reactive. Vial had never considered patience as a form of power. Back on Earth, Ethan made a decision. He convened a meeting with a small group of trusted advisors. "We cannot show everything yet," he said. "They must not know the full extent of our capability. But we need a demonstration. Something small that tells them humanity is not weak, not afraid, and not to be underestimated." Laura spoke. "What do you propose?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We prepare a message of strength without firing a single shot. Let them feel the threat of human intelligence, precision, and readiness. Let them see that Earth is protected, not by surrender but by skill, by preparation, and by courage." Over the next few hours, technicians and engineers worked tirelessly. Small drones were sent into orbit, invisible to Valari sensors, testing defenses and observing reactions. Communication channels were monitored continuously. Every scan and report was analyzed to ensure no move could be misinterpreted as weakness. Outside the facility, the world continued as normal. People walked the streets, went to work, and lived their lives under the quiet shadow of alien ships. News anchors reported daily updates, trying to maintain calm while the tension built. Many speculated about the intentions of the Valari. Some believed they were genuinely benevolent. Others feared a hidden threat behind their words of protection. At night, Ethan and Laura observed the fleet again. Lights from the alien ships reflected on the surface of the oceans. The fleet was stationary but alive, glowing faintly in the dark sky. Humans watched in silence, and yet behind the scenes, Earth's secret forces were awakening. Laura said quietly, "Do you think they know about the Arcadia program?" Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. And they must not. If they see the full fleet now, they will act out of fear, and we cannot control what that will start. Timing is everything." Meanwhile, the Valari ambassador grew increasingly curious. His sensors detected subtle signals, small energy pulses in areas that should have been dormant. Something was happening below. Earth was moving, but not in the way Vale expected. Humans were preparing without revealing themselves, quietly, carefully. Across continents, humanity showed unity in subtle ways. Satellites relayed information secretly, scientists collaborated, engineers tested systems. Even ordinary citizens, unaware of the details, followed protocols for safety, as governments quietly activated emergency measures. It was a planet preparing for a potential threat, not by panic but by organization and determination. Ethan gathered a final briefing before the decision was made. "We wait for the right moment," he told Laura. "The Valari think they are guiding us. They think they are in control. But control is an illusion. We are ready, and when the time comes, they will understand that Earth is not for anyone to command." Laura nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility. She had studied stars for decades, hoping to meet life beyond Earth. Now life had arrived, but in a way she had never imagined. Testing humanity, expecting submission. Instead, humanity prepared silently with quiet power and patience. In orbit, the Valari fleet continued to hover. Their ships emitted faint signals of observation, scanning the planet, waiting for humanity to make the first move. Vale sensed that something was changing, but he could not pinpoint it. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and filled with potential. And deep beneath the surface, the first Arcadia warships prepared. Engines hummed, shields warmed, and weapon systems ran checks. Every crew member was alert, ready to act at a moment's notice. Humanity had waited for this moment for decades, quietly, secretly, unseen. As the sun set across the planet, casting long shadows on cities, forests, and deserts, Ethan stood on the deck of the horizon. Laura joined him, and together they watched the glowing alien fleet above. "They think they are offering protection," Ethan said softly, "but they do not understand the heart of humanity. We survive because we refuse to bow, because we fight even when the odds are against us, and because we prepare when others underestimate us." Laura looked up at the ships, feeling the tension and the anticipation. "And when we show them who we are, they will know that fear is not the way to control us." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. We do not start the fight today, but we are ready for it, and that is enough for now." The night passed quietly. Across the globe, humans slept under the shadow of alien ships, unaware of the silent preparation happening in secret. But humanity was ready, not for war yet, but for the day when the Valari would understand that Earth would not be commanded. And far above, the alien ambassador continued to observe, unaware of the true strength hidden beneath the planet he thought he could protect. The first step in humanity's silent answer had been taken. Patience, preparation, and quiet strength were the weapons of the day. And when the time came, the world would see that the humans who laughed at fear could face even the greatest power in the galaxy and survive. The day began quietly, but the tension in the Arcadia facility was heavier than ever. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the deck of the horizon, looking at the glowing alien fleet hovering above Earth. The Valari ships had not moved for hours, and their calm silence was almost worse than an attack. It was as if they were daring humanity to make the first mistake. Dr. Laura Bennett approached him, holding a tablet filled with updated sensor readings. "They're monitoring us constantly," she said. "Every communication, every energy pulse, every signal from our satellites, they are tracking it all." Ethan nodded. They are confident because they have never seen humans like this before. They think we will panic or surrender. They don't understand patience. They don't understand us. Across the command room, technicians worked tirelessly. Every system on every ship was checked and rechecked. Shields were tested. Engines roared to life, quietly but with incredible power. The weapon systems capable of incredible destruction hummed as if alive. This was humanity's hidden strength, the secret the Valari had never expected. Laura studied the Valari fleet on her screen. Their sensors are strong, but they can't see everything. We have layers of stealth technology. The drones we sent into orbit yesterday are undetectable to them. We can move quietly. Ethan considered this. Good. Quiet is what we need for now. They must know we are awake, but they cannot see all of our power. If they realize the full scale too soon, they will react unpredictably. And we do not start a war today. Meanwhile, the Valari ambassador, Sarin Viel, observed the planet with quiet curiosity. His ships floated above the surface, scanning, reading, and analyzing. Viel sensed something unusual but could not determine it. Small signals, tiny pulses of energy seemed to move across Earth in patterns that did not make sense. Humans were preparing, but carefully, silently. Viel's mind ran calculations. Could the humans be hiding something powerful? He could not know. On Earth, ordinary life went on. People walked the streets, drove cars, and lived under the strange shadow of alien ships. They were unaware of the massive hidden fleet beneath Nevada, of the warships ready to strike in moments, or of the secret plans being made in the highest government offices. They only knew that something extraordinary had come into their sky, and no one could predict what would happen next. Ethan gathered his key team for a strategy meeting. Laura, several senior technicians, and the lead commanders of the Arcadia ship stood around the central holographic display. Ethan's face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "We are going to make them notice us," he said. "Not with violence yet, but with a clear message. We need them to understand that Earth is alive, awake, and not weak." Laura looked concerned. "Do you think they will respond violently?" Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. The trick is to show precision and capability, without giving them reason to panic. We demonstrate power without attacking. That is enough for now." The plan was simple but dangerous. Small drones would move into visible orbit, creating patterns of energy that the Valari could detect. Simultaneously, the Horizon and the other hidden warships would subtly shift positions, just enough to be noticed by the aliens' long-range sensors. It was a demonstration of organization, coordination, and stealth, a warning that humans were not to be underestimated. As the drones moved into orbit, the alien sensors flickered. Sarenvale noticed the signals immediately. The drones emitted energy in a pattern that should not have been possible for humans. Vile's sensors tried to scan deeper, but the drones were too small, too clever, and too well hidden. Something about the way they moved made the alien commander uneasy. On the horizon, Ethan watched the drones move in formation, glowing faintly as they passed in patterns across the sky. "Do you see that, Laura?" he asked. Laura nodded. "They can detect them, but they cannot trace them. Not yet." Above the Atlantic Ocean, Valari ships shifted slightly, their crystalline hulls reflecting sunlight in dazzling colors. Vale tried to calculate what humans were doing. "Impossible," he muttered. "These signals, this organization, it cannot be human. Our records show a species at this stage should not be capable of such coordination." Ethan's voice came through the comms. "They underestimate us," he said. "And that is their mistake." The day passed with careful observation. Earth's people remained largely unaware of the hidden battle of wits happening above them. But in secret, humanity was sending a clear message. We are prepared. We are awake. We are strong. As evening approached, Ethan decided it was time for the next stage of the demonstration. The Horizon and the other Arcadia warships slowly decloaked in orbit, just enough to register on Valari sensors. They were still mostly invisible, black against the dark sky, but the alien fleet could now detect their outlines. Sarin Viel noticed the change immediately. "They are larger than expected," he said, his crystalline form vibrating slightly. "This was not in our calculations." The aliens sent probes scanning the newly revealed ships. Every probe returned incomplete data. The Arcadia fleet had been designed specifically to confuse and evade advanced scanning technology. Vile's confidence began to falter. These humans were not only patient, they were clever. In the Arcadia Command Center, Laura watched the aliens' reactions on the monitors. "They're trying to understand us," she said. "But they can't. Every probe we've detected has failed. They are seeing something, but they don't know what it is." Ethan smiled faintly. "Exactly. That is the point. They must feel our presence without understanding it fully. That is how humans have survived so long. When others underestimate us, we have the advantage." The Valari fleet shifted position, attempting to surround the visible parts of the Arcadia ships. But Ethan had planned for this. The warships moved silently, maintaining stealth while presenting a form that suggested movement and size beyond what they truly revealed. It was a careful dance of strategy, showing control and precision without aggression. For hours, the Valari analyzed, recalculated, and observed. Their communications were full of questions, commands, and signals. They did not attack, but tension was visible in the way their ships adjusted, the way their sensors pulsed more rapidly than before. On Earth, the world watched as strange light patterns appeared in the sky, drones reflecting the sun, glowing faintly, moving in patterns too precise to be natural. People speculated endlessly. Some thought it was a new form of satellite display. Others whispered about alien activity. The news channels broadcast images of strange lights dancing across the atmosphere, calling it a worldwide phenomenon. But only a few knew the truth. Only a few knew that these lights were a message, a warning, a signal of preparation, and a reminder that humanity was not to be underestimated. As night fell, Ethan and Laura stood together on the horizon's deck, looking down at the glowing lights of cities below and the faintly glowing alien fleet above. "They are watching," Laura said. Ethan nodded. "And they are learning something important. We are not weak. We do not panic. We wait, we prepare. That is the way of humanity." Above them, Sarenvile studied the patterns with growing concern. "These humans," he whispered, "they are unlike any species we have encountered. They are clever, patient, and coordinated. They are hiding something powerful, and I cannot determine what it is." Laura watched the alien reaction on her monitors, feeling a small thrill. "They are nervous," she said. "They don't know what we can do, and they never will, until we are ready." Ethan's face remained calm, but inside he felt the weight of responsibility. Humanity had waited for this moment for decades. Now it was here. The first step in showing the Valari that Earth was not weak had been taken. The night passed without incident, but the tension remained high. Every crew member was alert, every system operational, every sensor ready. Humanity had sent a clear message: we are awake. We are strong. We are prepared. And the Valari would remember this moment. In orbit, the alien ambassador grew increasingly cautious. Sarenvale's calculations had failed repeatedly. The humans were patient, intelligent, and hidden. He realized that patience itself could be a weapon, and he had never seen patience like this before. Below, Ethan and Laura planned the next steps. The demonstration had worked. The Valari were aware of humans' presence, but they had no clear understanding of the true scale of their power. That knowledge would come later at the right time. For now, humanity's message was simple and powerful. Do not underestimate us. And somewhere in the hidden chambers of the Arcadia facility, the warships waited. They hummed quietly, alive with energy, ready for the day when they would move from warning to action. Humanity's patience had set the stage. The Valari had been challenged, not with aggression but with precision, strategy, and intelligence. The first demonstration was complete, and the message was clear: Earth was awake. Humans were ready, and no one, not even the most powerful alien fleet, should think of them as weak. The alien fleet remained in orbit above Earth, calm but tense. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the glowing ships silently hover over the planet. It had been days since the first contact, and the Valari had not attacked. But their calm was dangerous. Calm meant they were observing, calculating, and expecting humanity to make a mistake. Dr. Laura Bennett joined Ethan at the viewing panel. "They're analyzing everything we've done," she said quietly. "Every drone, every ship movement, every signal from Earth, they notice it all. But they still don't understand us." Ethan nodded. "They think patience is weakness. They think caution is fear. That is their mistake. We will show them strength, but without starting a war. That is how humans survive." In the Arcadia facility, the crew worked tirelessly. The hidden warships were alive with energy. Systems hummed like living machines, shields warmed, and engines thrummed with quiet power. Technicians monitored every signal, calculated every possibility, and prepared for every scenario. This was humanity's advantage: preparation, patience, and control. Above Earth, the alien ambassador, Saren Vale, became increasingly concerned. The signals from Earth were strange. Small energy pulses, drones, and movements of hidden ships suggested intelligence far beyond what the Velari expected. Vael's sensors tried to detect the full power of these humans, but every attempt failed. Something powerful was being hidden, something that could change everything. Ethan and Laura called a meeting with the key commanders of the Arcadia fleet. "We've shown them we are awake," Ethan said. "We've demonstrated patience and coordination. Now we take the next step. We will escalate our demonstration without attacking. We make them feel our presence, our capability, and our readiness. And we do it without firing a single shot." Laura studied the maps on her tablet. "How do we do that?" Ethan pointed to the holographic display of the Velari fleet. "We make them see the ships. We move in patterns they can't ignore. We show control, precision, and intelligence. And we send signals they can detect, but cannot trace. They must feel the threat without understanding its size." The plan was executed carefully. The Horizon and the other Arcadia warships moved into higher orbits, partially visible to Velari sensors. The drones formed new patterns in space, glowing faintly in the sun. Each movement was calculated to attract attention, but reveal nothing about the full fleet. Saren Vale noticed the changes immediately. "They are larger than expected," he said, his crystalline voice tense. "Our sensors cannot determine their full number. They are clever. They are coordinated. This is unlike anything in our records." The Velari began sending probes again, but every probe failed. The drones' movements were too clever, too unpredictable. The warship's cloaking technology hid their true size and power. Vale realized that the humans were not only patient, but strategic. Every signal, every movement, every response was part of a carefully planned demonstration. On Earth, ordinary people saw strange lights in the sky. Patterns of glowing points moved in ways that no natural phenomenon could explain. Scientists and reporters tried to understand, but the truth was hidden from them. Only a few knew what was really happening: humanity's silent warning to the Velari. In the Arcadia Command Center, Laura observed the alien reactions on her monitors. "They are confused," she said. "They can see something, but they can't understand it. Every probe fails. Every calculation is wrong. They don't know the size of our fleet or our power." Ethan nodded. "That is exactly what we want. They must feel the threat but not know the full extent. That uncertainty will make them cautious. It will make them hesitant, and that hesitation is power for us." As the day passed, the Velari became more alert. Their ships shifted slightly, scanning, probing, and adjusting their positions. Vael sent orders to his commanders to prepare for a potential attack, but he hesitated. Every calculation he made showed the humans were more capable than he had ever imagined. Inside the Horizon, Ethan continued to monitor the alien response. "They are nervous," he said. "They are not attacking, but they are watching every move. That's good. We want them nervous. Fear and doubt are stronger than weapons sometimes." Laura looked at the monitors. "We need to continue this without showing all our strength. One mistake and they might attack. We must be careful." Ethan nodded. "I know. That's why we move slowly, deliberately, and without aggression. Every step is calculated. Every signal has meaning. We are teaching them patience and respect." Meanwhile, across the planet, governments watched the skies with growing anxiety. People reported strange movements, glowing lights, and patterns in the atmosphere. Some believed it was a new type of weather phenomenon. Others whispered about alien activity. But no one knew the truth. Humanity's secret fleet was sending a message, carefully and strategically. Above, Saren Vale grew increasingly frustrated. He could not detect the true size or strength of the humans' fleet. Every attempt failed. The humans were clever, patient, and disciplined. They moved in ways he could not predict, and the drones' signals were impossible to trace completely. Vile sent a message to the Valari command fleet. Prepare for possible resistance. The humans are not simple. Their coordination, patience, and technology are beyond what we expected. They are hiding something significant. We must proceed carefully. On the horizon, Ethan heard the message through intercepted channels. He smiled faintly. They are beginning to understand, he said. They think we are clever. They have no idea how strong we really are. Laura glanced at him. Do you think they are afraid? Ethan shook his head. Not yet. But they are cautious. And caution is the first step toward respect. Fear comes later, when they see what humans can do if pushed. The Arcadia fleet continued its demonstration. Ships moved in carefully calculated patterns, drones, formed glowing designs in orbit, and energy signals pulsed rhythmically. It was a display of intelligence and organization, not aggression. The Valari watched, their sensors detecting power they could not fully understand. In orbit, Sarin Vale calculated every possibility. Attack? Retreat? Observe? Every option was dangerous. The humans' patience and control made predictions nearly impossible. He realized that they had underestimated this species. They had assumed Earth was weak, naive, and unprepared. But humans were none of those things. Back in the Arcadia facility, Ethan addressed his team. We have sent our message. They know we are awake, they know we are prepared, and they know we cannot be underestimated. Tomorrow, we will take the next step. We will show them coordination, precision, and readiness without revealing our full power. This is how humans survive. By patience, strategy, and intelligence. Laura studied the monitors one last time before nightfall. They are reacting, she said. Every probe, every signal, every adjustment of their fleet shows that they feel something. They don't understand it, but they feel it. Ethan nodded. Exactly. That is all we need for now. Let them wonder, let them hesitate. That hesitation is our advantage. Humans survive because we think ahead, we prepare, and we do not panic. The Valari must learn that the hard way. As night fell, the alien fleet continued to hover over Earth. Lights from the ships reflected on oceans and cities, but no attack came. People slept under the glowing presence, unaware of the careful warning that humanity had sent. In the hidden Arcadia facility, the warships hummed quietly. Engines were ready, weapons were ready, and shields were at full strength. Crew members stood at attention, knowing that the next demonstration would bring them closer to revealing humanity's true capability. Ethan looked at Laura. We have done enough for today. The Valari are alert, cautious, and uncertain. That is the beginning of respect. Tomorrow we continue. And when we do, they will understand a little more about who they are dealing with. Laura nodded. It is incredible. I studied the stars my whole life, hoping to meet intelligent life. Now they are here, and we are showing them that Earth is not weak. That is amazing. Ethan smiled faintly. It is. But remember, we are still careful. We have power, yes. But patience and strategy are stronger than power alone. That is what makes humans different. That is what makes us dangerous when we are underestimated. Above the planet, Sarin Viel sent more orders to his fleet. Every calculation he made was cautious now. He could not determine the size or strength of the humans' hidden ships. Every probe failed. Every scan was incomplete. Something about these humans was unique, unpredictable, and clever. In orbit, the Valari ships shifted slightly but did not attack. They waited, watched, and tried to understand. And that was exactly what humans wanted. Humans wanted to be understood only on their terms. They wanted the Valari to feel uncertainty, respect, and caution before knowing the full truth. On Earth, ordinary people looked up at the glowing sky, still unaware of the full secret. Strange lights moved across the atmosphere, forming patterns that no one could explain. Scientists argued, reporters speculated, and governments monitored, but none knew the real story. In the Arcadia facility, Ethan addressed the crew one last time before the day ended. Remember this, he said. Patience is power. Strategy is strength. Intelligence is our weapon. We do not strike first, but we are ready. And when the time comes, the Valari will learn that humans survive, and they do not forgive underestimation. The next morning, Earth woke to a quiet tension in the skies. The alien fleet remained in orbit, calm but alert. For days, humanity had demonstrated patience, coordination, and intelligence. The Valari ambassador, Sarin Viel, had grown cautious, sensing that humans were hiding something powerful. Today, however, humans would take the final step. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the deck of the Horizon, looking at the glowing alien ships above. His expression was calm but firm. Today, he said to Dr. Laura Bennett, we show them the strength they have ignored for too long. Not to destroy, but to make them understand. Laura nodded, her fingers moving over her tablet to confirm systems and communications. All ships are ready. Drones are in position. Signals are calibrated. They will see us, but they still won't know the full power we hold. The Arcadia fleet, hidden beneath layers of stealth technology, began to move into new positions. This time the movement was not subtle. The ships decloaked gradually, showing their full outlines to the Valari sensors. The Horizon, the Aegis, the Resolute, and 2 other massive vessels formed a precise formation. The ships were black, absorbing light, reflecting none. They were massive, silent, and deadly, designed to be unseen until the perfect moment. Sarin Vial noticed immediately. They are larger than expected, he said, his crystalline tone tense. This was not in our calculations. The humans are revealing more than before. The Valari began to scan aggressively. Every probe, every sensor, every calculation was active. But the humans had prepared for this. The ship's technology masked true energy outputs, shield strength, and weapons capabilities. The Valari could detect the ship's presence, but not their full power. Ethan opened a channel to the alien fleet. His voice was calm and steady, projected across all frequencies. Valari conquered, he said. We have been patient. We have been careful. We have shown that Earth is awake, aware, and prepared. You offer protection, but we need none. You underestimated humanity, and now it is time you understand who you are dealing with. For a moment, silence filled the communication channels. The Valari fleet adjusted their positions, scanning, analyzing, and calculating. Vial's sensors tried to detect the true capability of the human ships, but every attempt failed. Humans were clever, strategic, and patient. Then a pulse of energy moved across the horizon. It was not an attack, but a demonstration. A single beam, focused and precise, struck a floating asteroid far above Earth. The asteroid cracked, crumbled, and collapsed into small fragments. The energy was measured, controlled, and incredibly powerful. Vial's sensors registered the pulse immediately. His calculations failed. The energy, the precision, and the control of the human demonstration were beyond his expectation. Impossible, he whispered. These humans, this is not in our records. They are more advanced than we thought. The Arcadia ships followed with more demonstrations. A second pulse disabled a small probe the Valari had sent to scan the fleet. A third beam created a controlled burst in orbit, showing raw energy without causing damage to Earth. Each display was precise, calculated, and impossible to counter without escalating conflict. Ethan spoke again through the channel. You asked if we understand threats. We do. We understand the galaxy, but we also understand ourselves. We survive because we face danger, not because we hide from it. We do not need protection. We do not bow. We do not fear. The Valari fleet adjusted again, but hesitation had begun to creep in. Vial realized that every calculation had underestimated humanity. These humans were clever, patient, and disciplined. They were not a primitive species, as the records had suggested. They were a force to be reckoned with. On Earth, ordinary people saw strange flashes in the sky. Some thought it was a natural phenomenon. Others feared an attack, but only a few knew the truth. Humanity was showing the galaxy that Earth was awake, prepared, and capable of defending itself with precision and intelligence. Laura watched the monitors. They are nervous, she said. Every movement, every pulse, every signal shows that they feel our presence. They still don't know the full strength of our fleet, but they are beginning to respect it. Ethan nodded. Respect is the first step toward understanding, and when they understand, they will think twice before threatening Earth again. The Valari ambassador called a council meeting aboard his flagship. Every commander was tense. Calculations had failed, sensors had been deceived, and the humans' patience had created uncertainty. Vale addressed his fleet. These humans are unlike any species we have encountered. Their coordination, patience, and control are beyond expectation. They are hiding something significant, and we cannot risk underestimating them. Meanwhile, the Arcadia fleet executed a final display. Ships moved in perfect formation, energy signals pulsed rhythmically, and drones formed patterns in orbit visible even to the naked eye. It was a demonstration of precision, intelligence, and strength without aggression. Vile's voice was tense. Prepare for all contingencies. They are clever, patient, and strong. They are unlike any civilization we have faced. We must proceed cautiously. Ethan addressed the crew of the Horizon. This is what I mean when I say humans survive. We do not strike first unless necessary. We show strength, intelligence, and strategy, and when the time comes, we defend ourselves without hesitation. Today, the Volari know that Earth is not weak. That knowledge will last in their calculations forever. Laura smiled faintly. We've shown them without hurting them. That's incredible. Ethan's gaze stayed on the Volari fleet. The galaxy must learn that humans cannot be controlled. That is our power, patience, intelligence, and readiness. Weapons are secondary. The real strength is knowing when to act, and when to make others understand their mistakes before striking. The Volari continued to hover, scanning, adjusting, and observing. Vile's calculations were slow, uncertain. Every probe returned incomplete data. Every sensor reading suggested intelligence far beyond what records indicated. The humans were clever, patient, and strategic. On Earth, the world watched the strange patterns in the sky. Some reported flashes of light, synchronized movements, and energy bursts in orbit. Scientists speculated endlessly. Governments monitored quietly, and citizens remained unaware of the full truth. Humanity's hidden strength was still invisible to most, but its message had been sent clearly. Do not underestimate Earth. Ethan gathered the team one last time. This demonstration is complete, he said. They have felt our presence. They have seen our intelligence, coordination, and strength. They still do not know the full capability of our fleet, but they will remember today. That is enough for now. Laura looked at the monitors, seeing the Volari fleet shifting nervously. They are beginning to understand, she said. Ethan nodded. Yes, and that understanding is the first step toward respect. Humans survive because we are clever, patient, and disciplined. The Volari must learn that lesson. Today we have taught it without firing a single weapon in anger. That is true strength. Above, Sarenvale communicated with his fleet. Every command was cautious. Every calculation considered the possibility of unknown power. Vile realized that he had misjudged Earth. The humans were not simple, primitive, or weak. They were intelligent, patient, and dangerous when underestimated. In orbit, the Arcadia ships returned to stealth mode, fully cloaked once again. The demonstration had been complete. Humans had shown their readiness, intelligence, and power without aggression. They had sent a message. Earth was awake, alert, and not to be trifled with. On the horizon, Ethan turned to Laura. We have done what we needed. The Volari know they cannot control us. They know they must respect us. And they know that any threat against Earth will be met with strategy, precision, and strength. Laura nodded. It feels like the galaxy will think twice before challenging humanity again. Ethan smiled. Exactly. And that is how humans survive.
We do not strike first, but we are always ready.
We do not surrender and we do not fear. And now the Volari know that. The alien fleet remained in orbit, silent and cautious. Vile calculated every possible reaction, but nothing was certain. The humans had shown power, intelligence, and patience. They had sent a message without aggression, and that message would remain in the minds of the Volari for a long time. On Earth, ordinary people slept under the glowing presence of alien ships, unaware of the demonstration that had taken place above them. They only saw lights, patterns, and strange movements in the sky. They did not know that humans had revealed a fraction of their true power to a fleet that had come to protect them. Inside the Arcadia facility, Ethan addressed his team one last time. Remember this moment. Humanity has shown that we survive through intelligence, patience, and strategy. The Volari have seen a fraction of our power today. They will remember it. And the galaxy will learn that Earth is not a planet to be commanded or controlled. Laura smiled. We've done it without firing a single shot. Ethan's gaze stayed on the stars above. Exactly. And that is how humans survive. Cleverness, patience, strategy, and readiness are our weapons. And the Valari and anyone else will never forget it. The night passed quietly. The Arcadia fleet remained ready, fully operational and alive with energy. The Valari watched and calculated, aware that they had underestimated humanity. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the fleet, Saren Vale realized that Earth was a planet